Toronto prides itself on its music scene, having nurtured multiple artists who went on to find international fame. But the many venues that foster that talent are now either already closed or just hanging on by a thread. A new report outlines the devastating impact the pandemic has had on Toronto's live music venues and what can be done to save it. But those in the industry say the wreckage didn't have to be this bad. At least 11 music venues have been shuttered since March. Venues that combined would have hosted an estimated 5,000 artists each year and employed about 190 people.
It's, been my fear as a venue owner that, hey, I might be on that list.
Sean Bowring owns the Garrison and the Baby G. He says the last 7 months have been especially difficult and fears what prolonged restrictions might bring.
People get under pressure and they collapse because they just can't afford to do it anymore.
Toronto's live music venues have an economic impact of $850 million annually and provide the equivalent of 10,500 full-time jobs. But many in the industry say Toronto's music scene has been suffering for quite some time from lack of government support. Matthew Angus fronts Toronto-based indie rock band Fast Romantics and says venues were not set up to succeed even before the pandemic.
I don't think our band would be what it is without the venue ecosystem and just the general buzz in the air around the creativity of musicians in Toronto. Venue owners are not the lay down and die type, but you can only strangle somebody for so long before they run out of air.
After a 2-year study, the city finally released a report on the state of Toronto's live music venues. The report describes an alarming number of venues closing their doors even before the pandemic, victims of higher rent, redevelopment, and rising insurance premiums. City Councillor Joe Cressy chairs the Toronto Music Advisory Committee, who are putting forward recommendations to all levels of government to assist venue owners that are suffering.
We moved at the City of Toronto with our Music Advisory Committee to launch a new tax subclass to provide relief to live music venues. Nearly 50 venues have qualified for more than $2 million of relief. That's been a lifeline, but it's not a silver bullet.
The city will soon be debating recommendations that call on the province to ban evictions for music businesses and request enhanced financial support from both provincial and federal governments. But for struggling venues, concrete action can't come soon enough.
Most, recording artists don't go to school. They go to university by way of playing in venues. Yeah, and you would never, ever, ever tear down a university or let a university die in a pandemic.
Today, federal officials announced that business owners can now apply directly for rent relief through the CRA and don't have to rely on property owners to do that. So that's certainly a big help for them, but too late for those venues that are already closed. In Toronto, Natividad, City News.